Hello and welcome to IMHO. Today I'm talking to Dawn Anderson about how search is changing. Dawn is an SEO consultant and the founder of Bertie Consultancy. She is a European, UK, and Northern Digital Search Awards judge, and Dawn is currently working on an MSc in computer science and data science with specialist strands in machine learning and AI. So I can't think of anybody better to speak on this topic. I actually picked up a talk recently that Dawn gave, and she talked about watching Martin de Rijk, who is massively respected in the information retrieval world. And he was quoted as saying that he felt at the moment that it wasn't necessarily an adaptation of search engines, but a full and utter rebuild of how information retrieval works, like starting from the ground up again. So, Dawn, I think you've got a lot of experience in information retrieval. We're going to jump straight in here. Please tell me, in your humble opinion, where is search right now? Where is it going? And how do you think information retrieval is changing?
Uh, well, thanks for having me, Shelley. I'm really, really pleased to be here and chat to you. Um, well, obviously, search is totally and utterly changing, and definitely is a complete and utter rebuild. Last year, I went to the European Summer School for Information Retrieval for a week, and I'd been there 7 years previously. Wanted to go and like refresh because I knew that search is always changing, so I wanted to go back. And what I experienced was that what had been taught 7 years previously was bundled together into one lecture. 42 things you need to know about information retrieval. That was that. The rest of it was just AI, machine learning, re-ranking, learning to rank, all these, retrieval augmented generation, generative AI.
I mean, how do you think AI, Gen AI, is actually going to impact on the core of information retrieval? Like again, going back to what Dirac said about how, it's all completely changing. Is it going to be Gen AI that's changing that?
Well, I think it's going to be everything that will combine. I think the search engine of the future will be a hybrid of sorts. I mean, we're seeing this already with AI overviews, and whilst they are lacking, they're going to keep increasing. They're going to keep growing. But search engines have well, they don't have an obligation to do anything. But if they don't reward people that are producing content, they'll find themselves very quickly in like a loop of ever reducing circles of irrelevance, if you like. And yeah, I think that the search engine of the future will definitely be hybrid. I think that there will be others that will emerge from the sidelines that are now predominantly Gen AI, and LLMs like the ChatGPTs and the Claudes and Le Chat and so on and so forth. There's absolutely loads of them. They will start to venture into search as well. So I think there will be a fragmentation. I think we'll all have to learn how to maybe, you know, market for those as well rather than just Google, because all we've ever really cared about is Google. I mean, I think you will get a fragmentation over time of Google's share of search, and I think that that's almost a good thing. For just a little bit more competition is always good. So yeah, so it's going to change. I think we should definitely be better at starting to measure where we're getting traffic from better. So, understanding, because obviously Google Analytics is not really built for us to be able to get a view of where we're getting traffic from LLMs at the minute. I think there's a little bit of a hack that you can put together on that, but I think we should definitely be looking at analyzing, seeing if we're getting any kind of upticks in these from those platforms as well.
For me at the moment, I'm seeing Perplexity is
Yeah,
referring more than anything else. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but it'd be
It's
interesting to see how that plays out.
yeah, it's going to come through, but also at the same time, I think we kind of forget that there's so many other even Google verticals, like aspects of universal search. We're still a bit obsessed with 10 blue links, like we do all our tracking. It's always based on really 10 blue links, which that is just, it's just diluted to hell. I mean, you've got a lot of traffic that you could get through Discover, loads of it. Discover people, a lot of people don't understand Discover. They don't realize that Discover is not a search engine as such. It's a recommender engine. That's different. Discover's like Netflix. Discover's like Spotify. It gets to know you, and it gets to know the types of content that go in a temporal flow. and it suggests things to you without you actually going looking for it. And I bring it back to years ago when we started talking about the user is the query. That's it. The user is the query. What the user wants is the query without them even asking it. Yeah. And I think we're starting to see that coming through a little bit with Discover. And I think increasingly we'll start to see that, generally speaking, across search engines where it understands that these queries go together. Somebody who's looking for a mortgage is probably in, 6 months going to be looking for a removal company, or they're going to be looking for, furniture or bedding or, home improvement stuff. So it's actually using data to map the journey that somebody might take, even though they might not actually know what they want or ask for it. Yeah, in the first place, if that
That
makes
is,
sense. I
it
think that's the
does.
direction of search. It's more intuitive.
It's actually a really interesting point because I guess when you look at it in that way, Discover was probably almost ahead of its time with search. So where Discover has been for the last few years, it's search is coming behind it. Like you say, it's with
Yeah,
more.
exactly. It's more.
Um,
It's about knowing. At 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, people who are into stocks and shares will check the stock market, showing them that because that's what they want. Yeah,
mm.
like we're the power of habit. It's understanding the habits that people have and actually presenting it to them without them having to ask. Yeah, it's almost becoming that assistant that knows you better than you know yourself, etc.
Yeah, it's just more and more personalization, isn't it? Which obviously is
Exactly,
what
and,
AI is
and this is
bringing
the
into
thing
it.
as well. Yeah, exactly. That search is very fluid, and what is the intent in one scenario is not the intent in another scenario. And I always go back to that example about the sports query that is Liverpool Manchester. The travel query that is Liverpool Manchester that changes twice a year when the derby's on. So it becomes a sports query, and everything changes. Yeah. So
Mm.
around Black Friday, everything changes because the intent of everybody is e-commerce. Yeah, so every single query that used to be like was informational in nature suddenly is transactional in nature. So, and then we always get this, oh, the algorithm's updated it. Well, no, it's because it's Black Friday and search intent has changed. So as a result, search engines are obligated to reinforce the results with the intent. So, and it's not a solved problem. I think people think that search engines automatically know how to solve these problems. These are not solved problems. They're very hard problems to solve. So yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to something actually we touched on at the beginning, just before we wrap up. But I know that you're preparing a talk at the moment about villains to heroes, talking about the information retrieval industry versus SEO, and I believe that the information retrieval industry doesn't particularly look very kindly on SEO. And as you're somebody who probably straddles both worlds, working across. I mean, why is it that you feel AI dislikes SEO so much, and what is it that SEO can do to mitigate this?
Well, let me say, whenever I've been to IR conferences, they're always very, very friendly. So, so they are very welcoming and very friendly. So, let me caveat this. But um, last year when I went to ECIR, which is the European Conference for Information Retrieval, I definitely saw in some of the talks a marked move to thinking again, once again, that SEO is all bad. Yeah, anything that is designed to manipulate the search engines at all, whether it be for good or bad, is all bad. Yeah, and I think that the problem is the SEO industry has not helped themselves over the years because we have done some pretty crappy things. Yeah, and also with a lot of the AI and the ML content that we spraying out automatically, I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors, yeah, with the quality and so forth that we've been producing. But there was a research done by a German research company that said, look, is Google getting worse? And that literally took a few like high ranking pages that were affiliate pages and said, look, all these pages, they're just built for SEO and they're all ranking, and Google's doing a terrible job because it's ranking them. And they're all just ranking, they're just linking to like affiliate opportunities and so forth. Well, SEO is marketing, and a lot of those pages were probably ranking through marketing. So I think that there's just a really terrible lack of understanding about what SEO is. Presumes that anything that actually changes their beloved results is wrong. Yeah, a search engine is a marketing opportunity, but at the same time, if it wasn't for SEOs being the middle ground between, for instance, websites developers that are just like maybe throwing out uncrawlable web pages and search engines, we're a bridge. We bring something very, very positive. We help search engines to understand content. We help owners of businesses market their websites through search engines. We incentivize them to invest in content, which in turn helps search engines. So we're a big part of the ecosystem, and we shouldn't be just presumed to be bad, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, I could never really understand as to why. I know historically years ago that coders, dev teams really looked down on SEO and they saw it as a dark art. And again, it's exactly what you're saying. SEOs do a lot of very, very good,
Very
valuable
positive.
work
We're
to
heroes.
ensure.
We're absolute heroes. We are helping people that own websites to be crawlable. We're bridging gaps all over the place between these different communities that don't understand how maybe search works. If it wasn't for the commercial opportunity that is available through SEO, there would be very, very little content that was created. So, you know, they can't have it both ways. They can't have all the information to organize and be able to organize the content of the web without actually the content being produced, and that requires some sort of incentive, and SEO is the bridge to that incentive. So that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think my fear is with the introduction of Gen AI is we're just going to see this huge, massive info. Well, I think we already are seeing this massive input of really low grade Gen AI created content, and it's just going to flood, and we're just becoming it's going to come caught in cycles of misinformation because it's going to be just misinformation referencing misinformation, so we'll just
Yeah.
completely lose the truth. But it almost, to me, it feels like it echoes like the early, what was it, the mid 2000s when it was article spinning and we went through a
Mhm.
very similar process. I kind of almost feel like Gen AI content is article spinning all over again.
Yep, you're totally right. It is, it is. And in the same by the same token that article spinning had its time, where it worked, Gen AI is having its time where it works, and search engines will catch up. I know that a lot of the data labeling companies now are especially, like the ones that do the labeling for relevance and search quality raters, the companies that provide those armies of labelers. Um, One of the offerings that those companies provide now is labeling um, artificially generated content. Yeah. So all it takes is for enough learning and enough data to actually be able to recognize it. I mean, we've also got these platforms now where you can enter some content and it'll say this is 99% generated by a bot, or an LLM. So search engines will catch up. I mean, to some extent, it does work at the minute, but and there's nothing wrong with utilizing some of these tools to actually get, you know, insights and structures and ideation and so forth. But it's when you just literally go copy paste. I think it's just a not a good place to be with your content. Really, they'll pick up on it.
Yeah, I think that any brand, if they believe that they can cut costs, like there's been a lot of, especially a lot of publishing companies, a lot of companies out there, they think that they're saving a lot of money by axing their SEO teams and axing,
Mm.
their writers. And I just say good luck to them. I'm just going to say, Dawn, I really appreciate your input and your valuable insights. And I know you're obviously, somebody who is a real expert in this industry. I think one of the real unsung heroes. So it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And likewise, yeah. So I appreciate your time. And sorry for the animals.
That's all right, Dawn. It's been great to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye. Bye.